Whoops. Okay. So, hard gel used to intimidate me a lot. And so I'm really excited to help you as a new nail technician, or maybe you've been doing nails for a really long time and don't have a lot of experience with hard gel. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that. There's a couple other things we're going to talk about, and that is like how to fit a tip properly. I know this might feel like very easy, you know, very beginning part of being a nail technician, but sometimes there's reminders and there's always something we can learn, right? So I have our amazing hand here. This is my beautiful hand. She doesn't actually have a name. One day I called her Penelope. The next day I called her Prudence. You know, it is whatever it is. So we are going to start with a nail here. This is just our natural nail bed, and we're going to go ahead and file it. Now, show of hands or whatever, if any of you are using a hand like this and you're a student, I know a lot of you are still students, or maybe you've already graduated. I've been talking a lot in the assessments about developing a filing system. So it's like always going up one side, always coming back across the cuticle and coming down the other side, and doing that across all of the nails. And it's not to scratch, scratch, scratch. It's just to remove the shine. As you get, you know, better and better with what you do, you'll get muscle memory. And the idea really is just to remove all of that natural shine. And then eventually, as you guys get better and better, you'll move on to using an e-file. I use an e-file in my professional work, and down the road, we'll be working on doing e-file education as well. So that's good, right? All right, let me admit a couple more people. Here we go. Okay, so we have our natural nail all nice and prepared, except for I just saw a little shiny spot over here. So when you're preparing natural nails, I will always look for that. I will always look to make sure that there's no shiny spots, okay? If there's a shiny spot, that's where you're gonna get nails that are lifting and coming right off, okay? So here we go with that. And we're gonna be teaching not only tip fitting and blending, but we'll also down the road, we'll start teaching like how to do sculpting and how to fit a form properly. So this is a tip that I had measured earlier. And the best way to measure a tip is to slide it up against the nail well, and then look from side to side to make sure that it fits down our lateral sidewall. This is our lateral sidewall. Okay, this one fits nice. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a little drop of glue in it. I guess I pulled that out of camera just long enough for me to drop the glue. So here we go. Drop that glue in there. And we're going to do puzzle piece to puzzle piece, fit right up in that well, and then roll back. Okay, did you see how by rolling it back, all of that glue is pushed towards the back? It works very well. And then we eliminate all of those little bubbles, especially when we're getting ready to start blending, and we do not want to see bubbles. We don't want to have to file through that plastic down to the natural nail. So go ahead and do that. Now I want to show you something real quick while this is drying here. Okay, so while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and grab another tip. Sometimes before you apply a tip to the natural nail, let me just grab one of these here. All right. Okay. Sometimes when you have a tip like this and you think, I don't want to have to file across that well while it's on the natural nail, one of the things you can do is you can actually take a file and you can pre-blend that tip. So you can blend it down like this before you ever apply it to the natural nail. Isn't that smart? And you can get it nice and thin. And then that also is less wear and tear. See how thin and pliable that is? That's much less wear and tear before you were to apply it to the natural nail. So that's something just to think about and just to remember. So I'll move that out of the way. Brush our little nail guy off here. Now there's this little tiny bead of glue here. No big deal. We're just gonna wipe it off. Gone, like nothing ever happened. And we're going to use our tip cutters. We'll cut them down. And I'm just kind of breezing through this because we want to get in the meat and taters of our class today. So I cut it down and we're going to blend this bad boy. Okay. And remember how I was talking about having a file system? You want to file the exact same way every single time you pick up a file. That develops something in your body called muscle memory, so that every time you start filing, your body knows exactly what to do. I know it sounds crazy, but have you ever just kind of had one of those like cloudy days where like your head is like, ooh, but your body still knows what to do? Yeah, thank goodness. It's called muscle memory. Okay. All right, moving across. And as you notice also, something else, I am not filing on the natural nail. It is just across this tip. That is learning a lot of control. Okay. Right. So there we go. It's not only nice and blended when you look at it this way, but it's nice and nice and blended, but we didn't get into that natural nail too much. Now I'm going to change the shape just a little bit today. So as you can see, this tip kind of curves down as I like turn Penelope, our little hand. It curves down and we don't want that. We want that to come straight out from the lateral sidewall. So we're going to go ahead and take that up like this. And we're going to move this into a nice pointed nail. This is one of my very favorite shapes. And then we'll do the same on the other side. Now, a lot of people seem to have it in their minds that using a tip it's cheating and sculpting a nail is like the only way to go. I am here to tell you that I do both. Depending on my client, depending on the person sitting in front of me, depending on their needs, I do both. And I will never shame somebody for using tips. As a matter of fact, one of the most amazing nail techs I've ever met, she's an amazing competition winner. Her name is Hazel Dixon. Hazel, she prides herself. She says 99% of my customers that come in get tips on their nails. So if you're ever feeling to yourself like, hey, I shouldn't be tipping, I should only be doing sculptured nails, not the case. Do what is best for you and for your client, okay? All right, so I want to show you something now that I've shaped her nails. All right, there we go. Good job, Angel. I'm so glad you like using both because it is important to have, like, you're very well-rounded as a technician if you do both, okay? So this is something I want to show you. So when I am looking at our assessments and I'm talking about our lateral side wall, this is our lateral side wall. It means it comes straight out from that natural nail. Do you see that? Same with over here, straight out from the natural nail. Now, something I've noticed when people start changing their nail shape and they're going from, say, a square to a rounded or maybe something a little bit more pointed, one of the problems that happens is they start cutting up into that nail. And I'll see this nail, this tip is cut like all the way like this, or it's filed all the way like this. You have now lost all of your structure with that nail. So it doesn't matter if it's sculpted or if it's tipped, you have just lost all of your structure and your nail is now going to break across there. So that's problematic and not something that you want. So definitely make sure that you keep your lateral sidewall in check. And then you can make this more pointed if you want, but to try and make somebody's nail like skinnier, like if you have maybe a client who has extra wide nails, the only way to really do that is by pinching the nail, which is a very advanced technique. And I will be so happy to teach that to you down the road, but not right now. So just make sure that you do not take out those sidewalls. Okay. All right. So here we go. This nail is now all prepared and ready to receive our hard gel. Now, the hard gel that we're using today is one that is one of the best on the market. Now, if you've used it before, fantastic. I'm so proud of you. If not, and you've never heard of it, I'm excited to be the one to tell you about it. Okay, this is Spa One. Okay, this is a Spa One gel line. This is for professional use. Now, one of the wonderful things as students of Mirage Spa Education is you are being exposed to a wonderful professional product, but it's not just a student product, it's a product that can be used professionally throughout, and it is non-proprietary, which means that Spa One is the only one with this particular recipe for this gel. And it is an excellent gel at that. Okay. So that's what we're going to do. We are going to do our beautiful white free edge. Now, if this was, a client, you would clean the nail off. We'd brush off the nail. Okay, and then we would use our cleanser. So I'll use my little cleanser here. Clean it up. All right, and then we would be using our base coat, regardless, whatever it is, or not our base coat. You'd be using like a primer. And let's see here. Are you going to be using live models? Hold on a second. Pull this up. Ooh, okay. So Angel, are you asking about that like live model? Will I be using a live model, or will you as a student use a live model? Like, I guess maybe clarify your question just a little bit for me. But what I was going to say is you'd use your dehydrator and then your primer, if you use a primer or a bonder, like your pH balancer, things like that. And then you would go into your base coat. Okay, now because we're using like our hand model here, I'm not going to waste product. I don't want you to waste product. So we're going to go right into sculpting with our gel. So we're going to be using this, which is Spa One, and it is a white builder gel. Okay, check that out. And we're using just our Spa One brush. I love these brushes. Now, something real quick I do want to show you is I like to take a little bit of clear. So here's clear. And we're going to prime our brush. Now, if you have seen me do this, or if you already know this, I apologize, but it's important for you to know this. We want our bristles to have a clear barrier. What that means is if I were to come in and use, white gel, I can wipe out all that white gel because I have a clear barrier. Then I can go back through and I could use a black gel and clean out all of my black. But because I have the clear as a barrier, it's actually going to really protect my brush, and it's going to allow me to use the same brush for all different things. So what I'm doing is I'm priming my brush. I'm really getting that clear worked in there. And on a side note, did you know the only thing you ever clean your brush with is gel, clear gel? So if you use a color and you come back through and you want to clean it out, you use clear gel to clean it. And you just brush back and forth until you get that all gone, okay? It's a little tip of the pros. All right, let me see your question here, Angel, sorry. Okay, so here's the thing. As a student, I know that you have your model, your hand, your little hand. And when you're doing your exams and your assessments, you send me photographs from your hand. But I'll be honest with you, when I was in nail school, I wanted to get my hands, no pun intended, on every single person I possibly could. And I wanted to do their nails. So you get your mom, you get your cousin, you get your aunties, you get your friends in here, you are working on them. No, that's not what you're sending in to me as an assessment, but you're sure getting a lot of practice. So who can think bad of you for that, right? Not me. Do it, girl. Get your friends in there. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and grab our white. Okay. Now, something I learned about this. So this is a builder gel, which means it is very, very thick, and it's not a floater. Are you familiar with the difference between like a floater and a builder? Floaters, they kind of like you put them on there. See if I can like demo a floater. You roll your floater on there, and then you kind of go back and forth like this until you get it where you want it. It also is self-leveling. So you would angle the nail down and just kind of let that gel flow. But a builder is different. As an acrylic tech, I love a builder because it goes where I put it. And I really appreciate that. So see, I've been sitting here talking to you and this gel hasn't gone anywhere. That's a sign of a good builder. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take this and we're going to roll it off. See? Right where we put it is where it's going to stay. Okay. Now I am going to, you ever get anything on your brush that you don't want? There, fixed it. What we're going to do, I'm going to turn this to the side so you can see, but we're going to do perpendicular. So not parallel. Perpendicular means up and down like this, where they come in contact with each other this way. We're actually going to use this to kind of maneuver our gel back like this, almost like little strings. Move it back. We want it. And then we'll do the same over here. Now, something that I have learned about this gel is that you don't want to make it too thick or you will not get it to cure all the way. Sometimes you need to flip that hand over and cure it from the bottom up. I don't know if any of you have experienced that yet. All right, so I got just a little bit too much gel. No problem. Slide that off. And just put it right back in your container. No big deal. All right, there we go. Give us a little bit better to work with. Now the thickest part of our nail we want is at the smile line. Did you know that? So if it's too thick down here on our free edge, just push it back. And this is semi-self-leveling, so it will kind of level itself out, but not much. I mean, it's not going to move very much. It just kind of goes where you put it, which is great if you're an acrylic tech and this is what you're accustomed to. So now I'm just going to kind of string back and forth very, very, very lightly. I don't know if you see that. Oh, let me go ahead and admit someone else. There we go. Great. So back and forth is like a little tiny string, back and forth like this. There we go, nice and smooth. Now, my smile line is not how I want it at all. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my brush. And I have a little wipe here, and I'm gonna wipe my brush to make it nice and clean. And I'm going to start from the center and swipe out like this towards one side. All right, did you see that smooth move? That was nice, right? And then I'm going to flip my brush over. That same corner, hit that center and swipe out the other side. Not too bad. And if you want to reform it and fix it just a little bit, that is completely okay. Not too shabby, do you think? There we go. Nice, beautiful smile line. Now, how are you guys doing with your smile lines? Are you struggling with them a little bit? Are you doing okay? You want them to be like centered and a little bit smiley, If you want to move this around, you certainly can a little more. I could sit here and fiddle with gel forever because I want it to be like so perfect. It doesn't look bad as it is, but you know, that's the perfectionist eye that we get. All right, so there we go. Yeah, I like that a little better. I'm telling you, wiping that little brush off, it saves my life. I'm sure it saves yours too, right? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just want to crisp this one more time here. You can see this is why I love a builder. A little bit more. All right. Yes. Okay. So Angel, you were saying yours break at the smile line. Okay. So let's address that. So I'm actually going to put away my gel. I'm going to put my lid on because I do not want my entire container to cure. Have you ever done that even on accident? Oh my gosh, it's so horrible. Okay. Let me grab our light here. And we are going to talk about them breaking at the smile line, okay? So what is going on? Are you doing, is this sculpting or tips or both? What is it? And you can talk if you want to, or you can type, either way. So if you're sculpting, how is your form fitting? Are you having any form seepage? Like, you have any gel seepage down below? And if it's your tip, I'm wondering how thick you're making your gel, if you're making it super, super thin. And is it always just straight across the smile line? And are you building enough of the pink with it? Those are some of the questions that I would ask. Is that, you like all my glitter on there? Sorry, don't look at it. So. Okay, so sculpting. Okay, so sculpting, you're struggling with sculpting. Girl, I get it. We have all been there. Okay, so, oh, and Lisa, you said you struggle with making your smile lines crisp with good corners. You know what? We always, like, so many of us have done that. And so many of us have filed away our corners. I know that is super frustrating. So couple things. I think one of the things we're doing is we're probably making it too thin. When we get into our corners and we're getting ready to, oops, move that out of the way, getting ready to file, I'm wondering if maybe we just have it a little bit too thin here. Remember, when we're filing, we want our free edges really, really thin. I'm going to bend her finger backwards, okay? So her free edge is not too thick right now, and we haven't even started filing yet. So it could be that where I was saying, you know, make sure that your smile line is the thickest part of your nail. So it's like your pink and your white need to butt up against each other. And then from there, it's going to smooth out to your free edge and it's going to smooth out to your cuticle. Does that make sense? So that's going to be almost always, you know, where your nail is going to be the thickest. Okay. All right. So Stacy, you were saying, I'm going to pull up your chat here. Okay. You were saying that you struggle with that dip between the pink and the white, and you tried the reverse and it was better. Okay. So making it a little bit thicker at the smile line is really, really, really going to help. And I know that in addition, like if you're filing it too much right on those smile lines, that's also going to be, you know, problematic. Now I'm with you. I love the French, especially if we're doing like a cute, like I have a really beautiful warm cotton candy that we're going to use today. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to that. We went ahead and cured this, and I only cured it for 60 seconds. I'm going to cure it again, but I'm going to do something here. I'm actually going to flip her hand over. Okay. And I'm going to cure her from the bottom, especially when you are sculpting. If you're having problems with things not curing all the way through, you may need to flip your hand over and cure it from the bottom, or remove that form and then cure it from the bottom. Does that make sense? When hard gel first came out in the United States, which, oh my gosh, it's been like 20 years ago, probably. It had been used in Europe already for a long time. But when it first came to the United States, one of the things that we struggled with was that they wouldn't cure. And so one company thought, oh, well, the only forms that we could use have to be clear forms. So they started coming up with really thin plastic forms that were clear so that UV light could go through, you know, from the top and from the bottom, both. And then they realized that down the road, if you actually flip the hand over, you know, or if you removed the form and then cured it again, that it did the same thing and they didn't have to make the clear forms anymore, which is good. But just something to be aware of, make sure that you cure it all the way through. Because have you ever started filing and then you get those little pockets and you're like, why is this still gooey and why is this still gummy? It's because it wasn't cured all the way through. No big deal, just cure it. Okay. So we're going to use our spa one again. Okay, look at this color, you guys. Kind of love this color. You ready? Dun, dun, dun. Look at it. Isn't this beautiful? So I was talking a little bit how great these products are. They really are. They really, really are. There are some products out there that are very, very high quality. And this would be one of them. I would compare this to any high quality gel out there. This is the highest of quality, not just as a student brand, this is a professional brand and it is fantastic. So as students, you're super lucky if you got to use this right out of the gate. You've been spoiled. If you try to change it, you'll be like, oh my gosh, I should never change. So yeah, I love this color. So this is also a builder. This is warm cotton candy. So once again, it's one of those that you scoop up to your little swirl and see, it doesn't go anywhere. Okay, so this is something I do want to show you. So I'm actually just going to remove most of that little bead, and I have just a very little bit on my brush. And have you heard that gel follows gel? Okay, let me explain what that means. So I'm actually just kind of brushing this on almost like a little, I call this a slip layer. Okay. And it doesn't look like I'm being very careful. I'm really not. And this is why. Have you ever started using a gel and you're like, oh my gosh, it's sliding into, the cuticle. It's causing all these problems, or I can't get it to go where I want it. Gel is going to follow gel. So as a newbie to a gel, it might be beneficial to have a small brush. Now I have a tiny little brush here. This is just from Spa One. This is a Spa One art brush. And what I've done, and this is something I've seen in a lot of the assessments that I've been working on, you can see this right here. There's like this whole gap alongside the cuticle. If we can take our gel and push that very gently along the cuticle, not too close, but closer than what we have been, and across the back, and push it towards that cuticle, but not touching the cuticle. And then the same over here, fill in that little gap with our little brush. And then we cure this. Gel is going to follow gel, okay? If we can get our first layer perfect, then the next layer is going to be better, and the next layer is going to be better. So gel will follow gel. So using your tiny little brush to really push it around the cuticle and get it to where you don't have that tiny little gap there is going to be very beneficial. Okay. So use your tiny little brush to do that. Now we don't have to cure this. We can leave it right where it's at. Now we can get a little bit bigger of a bead. So we'll get our bigger bead. Okay, we're going to take it and we're going to roll it off. Okay. And then we're going to use it perpendicular once again. We're not floating because it's a builder, right? So we're going to go back and forth like this. Drag it forward. And fill in that little gap that Stacy was saying she struggles with, right? Push it back and a little bit forward. And then push it back and a little bit forward. So do you see how using something that's not so self-leveling can be very beneficial to you? You have so much control. And remember, gel follows gel. So now it goes right where we had that little tiny brush. And don't leave it on the natural nail. All right.
Leave it on the skin.
Not on the skin. Don't leave it there. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and cure this one. And then we're going to give her a good look over and see if where we need to add anything, if we need to add anything. Okay. It doesn't look too horrible. But, oh gosh, ignore the dog. I'm in my office and he's like running around in the front room. All right. Oh, all right. I'll show you what I did in just a second. Yeah. Oh my great goodness.
Yeah, that happens to me.
Oh my gosh, I hate it. I think I just did it again. Listen, this is the real world if you've ever seen the real world. Funny. Like I caught it right on that little lip. Man, I hate it when I do that. So how are you guys all today? Are you doing good? It's like the longest 60 seconds of your life is waiting for a gel to cure. All right. You guys ready to see what I did? Look at bonk. So what we're going to say is we definitely need to add some gel to that. All right, let me grab another little bead here. Which is mine because we were going to have to build up our apex anyways, just a little bit. So let's go ahead and take care of that. I will roll it off here. And smooth it towards the back. So I have a suite. I have a little nail suite here, and with my cute little pink wall behind me. And then which is completely separate from my house, which is great, but I just left the door open because it's a really beautiful day here. It's like 70 degrees. I thought, oh, I'm just gonna leave the door open. Well, that'll teach me to not leave the door open. I really apologize for the barking dog, you guys. All right, so just shimmying this back and forth. And I saw a tiny little bubble, so I'm working on getting that bubble out. Okay. And I did see someone just asked a question. I will go in there and answer it in a second. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this. My head's all down. So I'm going to turn to the side. So you can see here that we do have a little bit of a gap. But Stacy, I'm guessing that yours goes down and then comes back up into the pink, whereas our pink is actually a little bit thicker than our white, which is not a problem. Because remember how I said we want our pink and our white where they meet to be the thickest part of the nail before we start filing it. So that's where coming in with that second bead of gel has been beneficial. And there's, of course, we're going to do a little bit of filing and perfect the nail anyways, right? So, all right, so make sure your gel and your brush and everything is out of the way of your light. And we're going to take our light again. You know what? I just saw a little gap here. And I'm going to grab my tiny little brush and push that back. Fill that in that little gap there. There we go. See how laying down the perfect nail, like that perfect first layer is so important. So important. Okay, there we go. So move our little thing. All right, so now I'm going to cure it without getting it caught. There we go. Okay. All right, so I did see some questions, and everybody, just so you know, Cheryl Tebow is in our group now, and so she's here to help answer questions. So yes, we are going to get this up on our YouTube so that you guys have a class that you can enjoy. And it is perfect. That is exactly what happens with our clients. Isn't it crazy? I can't believe I did that. That's all right. I'm for real, you guys. That's all. So with Stacy, I'm hoping this helps you just a little bit, where we said that the white needs to be, the white and the pink, meet up together. And that's really like the best way that you're able to prevent that dip, because I know exactly what you're talking about. I would also be really curious what gel you're using, if you're using like more of a floating gel or if you're using a builder gel. So those are a couple of things that I would definitely look at. And okay, here's another question. Would you consider yourself like inclined more towards acrylic or more towards gel? Because some people, like I can see, oh my gosh, they're a gel tech from the word go, and others I can see that they're an acrylic tech. And so being able to work with both of them and kind of like flip flop that in your brain a little bit, it just takes a couple minutes to find the right gel consistency for yourself. Okay, if that makes sense. So it's like people that say, I don't like coffee. And I'm like, that's just because you haven't found the right one yet, right? Okay. If you say you don't like gel, it just means you haven't found the right one yet. All right, 5 seconds. All right. Okay. So here is our nail all completed with the gel. But let's go ahead and remove that sticky layer. Clean it really good. And then we'll file it down. One thing I love about gel is that it does file so easily. It's just very, very easy file. All right, so I'm going to use my Spa One file. Okay, so you are using the same type of gel from Spa One. Okay, it's fantastic. So let's see here. Okay, like I said, listen, I'm an acrylic girl. I've been an acrylic girl for 27 years. I wasn't even exposed to gel. I think the first time was like 20 years ago when I was talking about the clear forms. But then from there, when it changed, gel changed and I was exposed to European gel, that's when my life went like, whoa, that was amazing. And then when they decided to start like combining everything and go to the acra gel, which is the sort of gel, sort of acrylic combo, that was kind of weird, right? But not a bad thing either. So, okay, because this is a soft product and we're going to be doing a little hand filing, I'm just actually going to use this, which is a 150. Okay, so this is a 150 grit. It's the same one that we used when we were removing the shine on the natural nail. So coming down your lateral sidewall, coming down your lateral sidewall. If you need to refine your tip, these are all things that you'll just get so used to doing. You do the exact same movement all the time, okay? Then we're gonna come up the side and across the back. And then down the other side. And up the side. And do you notice that I'm using the entire file? It's not just like this tiny little piece right here. Like use the whole file. That's what it's here for. I do love this nail color. I love this pink. It's such a beautiful color. So you want to know something. So this is a little secret about me. So when I do my full sets of nails, like you guys have seen the posts that I've made on Facebook or Instagram or anything like that of the nails that I've done on myself, because they're always like super extreme and crazy, right? When I'm not typing a million miles an hour. Did you know I hand file all of them? because I love hand filing. And I use an e-file. Don't get me wrong. I've used an electric file, I have a beautiful electric file. I have a couple of them actually. And they definitely have a place. But when I do my own nails and they're extreme shapes, I always hand file. I really, really enjoy it. It's so, I don't know, fulfilling to me to sit down and just hand file. Not crazy? A little secret from Phoenix. All right, so now we're going to come down our free edge, down that barrel. Nice and smooth. You can see it doesn't take long. That's why I was saying it's such a nice product. It's nice and smooth, and it doesn't take a lot to file it. And I'm going to bend our clients' nails a way that they actually never bend. But okay, look up this way. Okay. You always want to make sure that you go from the free edge looking down at the barrel, because you want to make sure that they're the same thickness all the way across. Okay. Did you know in the competition world that they actually have a little device? It's a caliper. And what it is, it's like one of those little like fat, like the fat things, like they'll squeeze your fat to tell you like how much body fat you have, but it's really, really tiny. It's a micro caliper, and they use it and they pinch across the nail to see that it's the same thickness all the way across. Did you know that? Oh my goodness. Talk about like crazy. All right. So looking at it, just eyeballing it is really good to make sure that we have it nice and the same thickness all the way across. So because we made sure that it was not too thin, which where our white and our pink met up, we were able to file it, and our white didn't get knocked out here, and our white didn't get knocked out here, and our apex is in the right spot. See, it's that nice, just like very beautiful. The grit that I'm using is a 150 here. There you go. It's a 150. So the 80, you know, this is, I would use this maybe to like knock out some bulk on an acrylic, but for a gel, I will always go like 120, 150, definitely. Okay. All right. Make sure we got it looking all beautiful. I think we do. If there's any refining. Now, this is something that I have told everybody. I don't know. I'm sure I've told all of you. You've heard this before. Just when you think you are done, you're thinking, okay, this looks beautiful. The best thing you can do is close your eyes and look away, or just like don't use your eyes at all and use your fingertips and feel across that nail to see if there's any low spots or high spots or any little ridges, because if your eyes will overpower your sense of touch every single time. But if you close your eyes or look away, now you're relying on your sense of touch, and your sense of touch will never mislead you once you've like taught it really well. And I felt a little tiny spot right here. All right, I think I got it. So once you think you've gotten it, then you need to do it again, repeat and feel. Okay, there we go. All right, so now this nail is ready for top gloss. Now, have you guys, I'm sure all of you have used this top gloss before, but let's do it here. So we're going to use our top gloss, which is right here, and it comes in a pot. So that's pretty awesome. You don't lose any. I know when I've been using things out of a jar, or not a jar, but like a bottle, sometimes you get all the way to the bottom and you're like, wow, I just lost all of that. So, oh, you know what? I wonder if this, Angel, maybe this is what you were using. This is top gloss. So it's kind of a purple color because it has a UV protectant in it, which means when you're in the sunshine or you're in a tanning bed or whatever it is, it will not turn yellow. Okay. So same brush, the one that we primed really good, even though it had pink in it, you can't even tell it had pink in it because I had filled it with all of that clear first, right? We're going to use that for our top gloss. And this is our top coat, guys, and you just brush it on. So make sure that you float it. Don't brush it and then brush it off, you know, put it on there and kind of float it down. It's self-leveling, so it'll be nice and shiny, nice and smooth. And did you notice that I did not take a buffer and buff out that nail? One of the things that's so great about this top gloss, which you can use over acrylic and gel both, is that you do not have to buff out those little scratches that are left behind. You actually get to use the top gloss and it kind of fills it all in there, and it saves a lot of time. And then if you're like me, which I know you are, I'm going to use my tiny little brush again, and I want to make sure that I get it right back towards that cuticle. So we have a nice, perfect, flawless finish. Okay. All right. Looks pretty good. I'm gonna move my gel out of the way, and I will grab my light. Now this is a gel that needs to be wiped off after you've cured it. So we'll cure that. So you do have to wipe it off. It's not like attack free, but you know, once again, a little Phoenix story with myself, I will always gravitate towards something that has a dispersion layer. I want to wipe off that dispersion layer because I feel like those hard gels they stay so much shinier than those that are the not wipe because they're non-porous, they're non-soluble. You can't soak them off. And so because of that, if I'm cleaning or I'm doing dishes or whatever it is, it's not absorbing any of those chemicals. And so it stays really, really shiny. So if you are maybe like, you don't want to use a non-wipe, if you don't want to have to wipe something off, just think about that for the longevity of your clients. And this top gloss is, once again, super, super high quality. So I'm going to do it for 60 more seconds. And then you'll be able to see this beautiful nail. Okay, so while I'm curing, I know Cheryl has been dropping some links for you guys in the chat, but if you could follow us, like if you like this kind of education, and can you use top gloss over gel polish? You know what? It would depend, Shyla. If you are doing gel polish over a natural nail, the answer would be no, because top gloss is not flexible. It's a hard gel. And so if you are over a natural nail that then has a gel polish, that top gloss is going to crack. But if you had an artificial nail that then you could put gel polish on, then yes, you could use top gloss because it's not flexible. It would be fine on top of an artificial nail. So I hope that helps answer your question, that it's like yes and no, it depends on what's underneath it, if that makes sense. Okay. So Cheryl had dropped all these links into the chat for YouTube, for Facebook, and for TikTok. And we want you guys to like us, to find us, to follow us, because we want to be able to start giving this kind of education. Now, we are doing this every single week. Every Wednesday, it will always be at the same time, and every week's going to have a new topic, a new demonstration. It will be sculpting or nail art or something, but you will get it every single week. Now, for the next like 2.5 months, all the way through March, we're giving this away for free. At that point, we actually will have a subscription, and it's a membership, and you get to join us. Not only do you get 4 classes through the whole month, every week at the exact same time, but you also will get what's called answering beauty questions. This one is called Sculpting for Success. And the other one is answering beauty questions, or getting your beauty questions answered. And what that is it's going to be an interview with a leader in the nail business. Okay. So it might be somebody who is an educator or who owns a school or somebody who owns a company or someone who has been a competition winner, or maybe they're an editor for a nail magazine. There's so many aspects of this industry that you may never be aware of, but you'll now get to have that interaction with somebody. It's called Ask Beauty Questions. And so you'll get that once a month. And we want your questions. We want you interacting with us. So I want you to think about that. So for the next, 10 weeks, you get this all for free. Okay. We're just giving it to you, but then there's going to be that membership, and we'll have a special price for students, and then a price for professionals. And then there's also a closed Facebook group that is specific for this membership. And with that, you get, access to me all the time, anytime and you'll have access to each other, which is also really important, because I don't know if you figured this out, but networking within the nail industry is really huge. Okay. So just so you know, that's up and coming as well. But every Wednesday at the exact same time, we're going to be having these Zoom classes. And I love that you're here. I love that you're here. And I love that you're engaging with me. So, okay. So those are the things that are up and coming. So follow us, like us, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of those things, and you'll be in the know of what's going on. Okay. So as you know, I've been sitting here talking to you and I haven't wiped off my dispersion layer. There's a reason why. Okay. When you first pull that out of the light, do you know that your gel is hot? It's warm, right? So if you go and you wipe off that dispersion layer right away, you might get a fingerprint. You might lose all of your shine. You don't want that to happen. So you have to let it cool. You have to let it come to room temperature, and then you can wipe off that dispersion layer. So here we go. Wiped off the dispersion layer. There we go. Beautiful. Maybe grab a little bit of cuticle oil, throw that on there. Got some of that here. Even though Penelope's not real, we're going to let her feel like she's real. And the cuticle oil does not go all over the nail. It just goes around the cuticle and towards the back, and nothing greasy, right? So there we go. There's our beautiful gel with the pink and white. Okay, I did see a question that was asked. Let me pull up my chat here. Oh, yes, please. If there's anything specific you want to do, send us request, whatever it is. And Manaya, I hope I said that right. Oh my gosh. Okay. So what do you use over gel polish? You know what you would do? You would use a gel top coat, like a soakable gel top coat. So within the Spa One line, we have our Spa One base and our colors and our Spa One top. That is what you would use, but that's not, a hard gel. That's a soakable gel polish. So there is a difference between soakable gel polish and hard gel, which is what we did today, and we used to sculpt a nail. You can never sculpt a nail with gel polish. Does that make sense? You can only sculpt a nail with hard gel. So, and you have my email. If you need to ask me any questions, I am totally there for you. So I think that probably wraps it up. How do you get it? So, all right, there we go. Okay, so I think we are good. Oh, and you know what? Yes, thank you, Cheryl. We do have a promo code today. So because we want you guys to experience all of these amazing gels, we're actually giving you 25% off the Spa One gel line today. Okay, so the promo code for that is promo4, and that can be found at the nailtechstore.ca. So that is the website, and the promo is promo4. So I will make sure we drop that in the chat. And then 25% off Spa One gel. So if you have ever wanted to try this amazing line, this is your opportunity to do it. Okay. So I think that's it. like, share, love. I'm so glad you guys are here. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions, you have my email. You know how to get in touch with me. Okay. So we'll talk to you all soon. Thank you guys. Bye.